This is WANI News with Andy Burcham.
64 degrees currently under cloudy conditions at 7:30. Andy Burcham with your news and weather, brought to you by The Legacy at Cary Creek. Mark your calendars for their big business after hours on January 14th. Opelika police are on the lookout for someone passing counterfeit traveler's checks. On Tuesday at approximately 1:40 p.m., a criminal possession of forged instrument, second degree, and theft of property, third degree, occurred at Target at 2640 Enterprise Drive. A female passed 3 counterfeit traveler's checks. During the transaction, the suspect presented what appeared to be a Georgia driver's license. Female appeared to be approximately 7 to 8 months pregnant at the time of the offense. Anyone who recognizes the picture of the suspect on the WANI1400.com website is asked to call the Opelika Police Department Investigative Services Division at 334-705-5220 or the Secret Witness Hotline at 334-745-8665. From the pages of today's Opelika Auburn News, a Lee County judge has ordered that all further briefs in the ongoing ethics case of Alabama Speaker of the House Mike Hubbard must be filed by next month. The order was one of 6 filed by Judge Jacob Walker III Wednesday, and stated parties wishing to submit further briefs in the case must have all issues filed by January 12th. Hubbard defense attorney Mark White said the order is not an indication the case will be heard by the late March trial date. Walker also ruled in favor of the state in an order to quash the defense's subpoena of Assistant Attorney General William Lisenby and Sandy McClure, Attorney General Luther Strange's special assistant and scheduler. Walker did rule to allow 2 depositions on December 16th pursuant to the defense prosecutorial misconduct argument. Hubbard's defense team has maintained Special Prosecutor Matt Hart engaged in selective and vengeful prosecution in the case against the Alabama Speaker. Hart declined to comment on this week's rulings. For the past 20 years, Rick Hagans has spent his Christmases in Mexico. I'm not talking about some luxury resort, quite the opposite. He and others with Harvest Evangelism head to the border town of Reynosa with a truck full of shoes, toys, and food. It started when Hagans made a promise to a child who lived in a garbage dump, asking for a pair of shoes.
I was preaching in Birmingham later on that next year, and I had a kind of an affluent church and thought maybe they would help me get some shoes, and challenged them, said, hey, if I walk across Alabama, will you give me a pair of shoes for every mile that I walk? And they said, hey, that sounds like a good idea, get the preacher out of town. And I said, how about if I walk barefoot, which some of God's best ideas are our worst ideas. The Bible says he chooses the foolish things of this world. 4th of July, 100 degrees, asphalt probably 130 or 140. I got tens of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of shoes that first year. And
a year later, Hagans found that child and others and gave them new shoes. It began a tradition that continues today. He walks across the state each summer to raise money and shoes for this Christmas trip. In 2015, he walked across Washington State. That marked 36 states that he has walked through.
Since then, I've been contracted with a movie company out of New York City that's doing a movie about those walks now. So that's right? Kind of the new news. It's excited. It'll be a 2 or 3 year project, but they're already planning on coming with me this next year. I'll be walking across Oregon. You know, when I walk, I just share the need for shoes, and the shoes kind of come in. We had 2 pallets, about 400 pair of brand new top-of-the-line Nikes come in this week.
Okay.
It'll be so neat to see those kids putting on some of those $200 LeBrons in Mexico. They won't know what they've got.
Hagans' family has been involved in the yearly pilgrimage to Mexico. As a matter of fact, his family grew by 1 as a result.
My children, that's been every Christmas of their life.
Right.
Every Christmas of their life. And for us, culminated by adopting Dreamer off of that very Canal Street. Our daughter, who's a Bible school student in Pennsylvania, she was adopted right off of those cruel streets. And so now when we see her, it's hard not to see Christmas and see Mexico. When we go to Mexico and see all the children there, it's very easy for me to say there, but for the grace of God's my own daughters.
You can hear more of this story on the Church and Pastor Spotlight Monday morning at 7:30 with Rick Hagans right here on News Talk WANI. The new board over Alabama's community college system has voted to merge 7 colleges into 2 regional campuses. Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approved the merger yesterday, beginning with a consolidated process that is expected to take up to a year. Southern Union State Community College in Wadley and Opelika, along with Chattahoochee Valley Community College in Phoenix City, will merge with Central Alabama Community College in Alexander City.
Considering a new home for you and your family? Neighborhood living, just as it should be.
WANI News time is 7:36. Your weather today calls for mostly cloudy skies, a high of 74. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, some patchy fog after midnight, low down to 54. Sunny for your Saturday, high of 76, and mostly clear skies Saturday night with a low of 58. News and weather has been brought to you by the Legacy at Cary Creek. Mark your calendars for their big business after hours on January 14th. For WANI News, this is